Jonathan Myree, Michaela Muirhead, Chelsea Oliver, David Tanker,
Jeez.
and Demarion Williams. Thank you.
All right. So, what I want you to hear me on is this. The x values are always increasing. So I am going to write a domain interval, but what am I saying is increasing? So remember the question I just said, or what I said at the beginning. Because we always read from left to right, the x is always increasing. So when I say I'm looking for a domain interval for which the function increases, I am talking about the y values, right? I want a domain interval for which the function is increasing, okay? So when I look right here, and I look at this graph, is it starting out decreasing or increasing? My finger, is it going up or down? So it's going down, so it is decreasing. All right, so if I want a domain interval for which the function increases, I'm going to stop right here. That would be a what? Relative minimum, right? Tell me when the function stops increasing. So it stops increasing at a maximum. We want to notice, right, that if it's going to increase, it's going to go from a minimum to a maximum. It's increasing all the way through there. But I need to write the domain interval for which it is increasing. What does it look like? And first off, I will say this. We'd have to actually graph it to find exactly what the minimum is. We'll do that tomorrow. So what do you think approximately that x value is? 7, 6. I would probably say 6 because of how close it is to 5, and that's a 10. Again, tomorrow we're going to graph it to make sure. But the domain interval for which it starts to increase would be 6. $23, 22.5, 23. Let's go with 23 for now. That is an interval, a domain interval, for which the function is increasing. It is telling me the x values over which that function increases. Is there anywhere else where the function increases? So 43? Is that where it starts increasing?
No, it starts increasing below.
At what kind of point would we identify as where it starts to increase? A relative... So like here?
Yeah.
Notice, it has to hit a relative minimum to start what? Increasing. So what does it look like that x value is? 38? Where would it stop increasing?
I think it'll go to infinity because it got an arrow.
Is it ever going to stop going up?
No.
Nope. And then so what's the domain value for which it finishes increasing? Oh, well, it never does, so it goes to infinity.
What would be brackets on 38 since that's a point?
That's a great question. Okay. This minimum right here, is it actually increasing at that minimum?
Okay.
The answer is no. In order to increase, it has to be going up. A good way to think about it is if you were to draw a line, what kind of slope would we consider this? Positive, right? But if I were to draw a line next to this point, that slope is what? The slope would be 0. Notice if it's increasing, the slope needs to be, no, increasing, it needs to be positive. If it's decreasing, the slope would be negative. So right there, it's neither. So at a minimum, it's not increasing. It's also not decreasing. It just is. And so we would not equal or include those numbers. That's a fantastic thought. That's also what I always talk about. Because that is a very clear point that I have, but it's not increasing at that specific point. Okay? And the idea doesn't change for decreasing. I want a domain interval for which the function decreases. Again, what am I referring to as decreasing? It would go from a maximum to a minimum in general, but what is decreasing? The x or the y? Remember, I want a domain interval. And you always read from left to right, so what is the domain always doing? What is the domain always doing? The domain always increases, right? What I want is a domain interval for which the function decreases. So what is decreasing? It's going down, so what's going down? The y. Remember, up and down is a y direction. So as I go to the right, what is the x value all the way over here?
Decreasing.
It is decreasing starting over here. So what is all the way over here? What x value? Negative infinity. Where does it stop decreasing?
Until you get to the minimum.
So that minimum, which we said earlier, we think that x value is 6. Is there anywhere else that this function decreases?
On the other side
So from this maximum
to the
to the minimum, but again, I want a domain interval.
Okay.
So what did we say this x value was? 23, comma, where does it stop decreasing? 38. Notice every time I do a domain interval for which it's increasing or decreasing, I'm always using a parenthesis. Okay? So tomorrow we will check the accuracy of those points with a graph, or with a graphing calculator, and we'll try to finish up this lesson as much as possible. And then maybe one more day with polynomials with an understanding check on Thursday probably. So don't forget tomorrow the review for the quadratics test, right? So that's the homework sheet and those problems I gave you all last week. The graphic organizer should be pretty much complete except for 2 words. And then I've gone ahead and told you everything that will be due on Friday. It might, that last section may be taken off depending on where we get to, but I can guarantee we'll get to these first 2. Alright? Some of these things you can already do. Anywhere it says review, you should be able to do it. Someone did have a question. Oh, by the way, if you still have homework that you need to turn in, leave it on the desk and I'll come and grab it. And who had a question? Yeah, about the review.
Which one was the before, or you supposed to do all of
You're
them?
supposed to do all this.
Oh, when I thought I was finished it.
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. And this is what we're supposed to think about. That's a great question. Do you have a vertex? Do you have any x-intercepts? So can you write that equation? Just make that. And that's all it is, right? So like you were able to do this one because you had a vertex. If you don't have a vertex, you can't use vertex 4. If you don't have x-intercepts, you can't use a factor. So you just can't do it. And just make the note, hey, I can't do this because I don't have a vertex 4. That's a great question. But good question. Yes, sir. Say that one more time. Dude, I don't have them. So I looked. Oh, maybe that's what it was. No names. That's right. So I do have a handful of those names. That was Ralston, Trista, Key, Devin. Doesn't look like your handwriting does. So I had that no name. That's the only other no name that I had though, because one of them got claimed, and there's none up there. I will look to see if I'm missing any no names. or if I don't have any in that stack, talk to me about it tomorrow. And also see if you tore it out and put it in your notebook, cause it might have been that. Yes, sir. But I'll look, okay? Hey, so we have duty this week, right? Coach? We got duty this week? Yeah, he didn't send out an email or anything, did he? He didn't send out an email, did he? He sent out a few weeks. Okay, cool. How is it gonna go with Sarah Lynn this weekend?
As long as we got one more point than they got.
That's all that matters.
That's point.
They're tough though, aren't they? Just structurally, they've done well.
Yeah, it's point is only 18.
Oh, yeah.
Let's play every.
Everybody's gonna be tough.
No more 50-0 games at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who was that, Carver that we beat with that, or was it Lee? That first round, Carver was the first round?
Yeah, both of them with the flags.
Yeah. Well, one had it, because of all the ridiculousness of the year, everything got moved around. So we had Lee originally, and then it got changed to Carver. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yep. I did. I didn't have to do that well. Yeah.
Did y'all come back Friday night?
Good morning.
That's a late night, man.
Back around.
1, 2, huh?
Almost 3.
Almost 3? That's a hard no, man.
Tell me about it.
Yo, we're doing good. Come on, now. No worries. This man wanted to tear us up. If he saw us, let you go by.
We're B, right?
Huh? Yeah. We are indeed Group B. Switch name on the board. Okay.
And once they all. How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Good. Just kidding.
Good. And it was right when we was getting ready to score, it was really low amount. Everybody played probably. Oh, we're still in 4 out. It was 21-7. First quarter. Still 8 minutes left. We scored 3 touchdowns first 4 minutes. We're headed to on 15, about to score again. I'm talking about, they cannot stop us. Half of the stadium lights go bright. What? They said a transformer group. Nobody saw nothing, nobody heard anything.
That's
They got
sketchy.
stalled
Y'all full
for
of crap.
exactly 30 seconds.
Y'all
Then
full
they
of
back
crap.
up. Check this out.
That's full of
Then
it.
they make it now. I'm on power going away a transformer group. 30, 35 minutes later, they think a refrigerator technician could be in the crowd because he fixed the transformer. You can't fix the transformer and replace the transformer.
That's
Changed the whole dynamic.
Yes, the whole, like, the boys.
sketchy. That is sketchy.
But it did kill them around.
That's sketchy.
Could you say alone that it was being able to do a lot? We would have been 40 to 14.
They could not stop.
That sounds.
Wow.
And then it was,
Wow.
and then it was, and it was like, one of the parents said that their quarterback was hurt.
You know, State Trooper, when we got there, said, y'all don't have the name, because the starting running back was in a real bad car accident last night. So he's not even playing today. Nothing wrong. Hey, we're dead. We're prepared for them all week.
Yeah.
It's not like,
But that was to try to, okay, so we don't have to worry about him.
Yeah.
No, that game,
Man,
play
that's
at the
dirty.
trash.
They-
we had 18 games for 185 yards.
Oh my
Oh my
God, yeah.
God.
They had
called the touchdown back.
Oh, the two touchdowns.
Yeah, Terrence, I was like,
Terrence touchdown, and Derrick touchdown.
every time they get two steps forward, they go 10 back.
The last
Slow down, that's dirty.
one scored,
Yeah.
one official told us that Johnson didn't get any the fourth down. We didn't know when we were, should be the game with the field goal by two or the extra point. Come to find out, it's touchdown. Dog that. He's on that. Still got that fourth down. So I could get over the win too.
Man, that's low down, that's dirty.
It was terrible.
That's, are they, were the refs from the area?
Somebody had that celebration. Like,
Yeah.
that's the worst I can do.
Hey, 2 is 2.